that we have different types and levels of knowledge and wisdom and maturity and understanding as people. We have different levels. Many of us want to create our own versions of paradise. So let's say the musician wants to have his own type of paradise, the footballer wants his own type of paradise, the businessman wants his own type of paradise, the family man wants his own type of paradise. So every person's making and creating their own versions of paradise, their own idea of paradise. For some people, paradise is having lots of money in the bank account, or paradise is traveling once a month, or whatever it may be. However, one version that has been taught to us by our beloved Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the ultimate paradise. The ultimate paradise which Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned in the Quran. Because you see, Allah's knowledge is infinite, His wisdom is infinite, His power is infinite, and His ability to do something is infinite. So the paradise that Allah has created for us, that is something beyond our mind and our capacity to even understand. Now you see, I'll give you an example of our own paradise, for example. So look at children. Yes, young children. What is their paradise? They enjoy drinking milk, having baby food, sleeping. And this is their idea of paradise. This is their pleasure. And they continue with this drinking and eating and vomiting and are doing all sorts until they get a bit older. And then these same kids, they like to have toys. So that let's say they get a toy car, and then a remote control car, and then a truck, and then they play with their friends in school, primary school, and they enjoy playing, and they just want to enjoy all the time. They just want to enjoy themselves, these children. So these children, they're entering this sort of paradise because they're experiencing pleasure. They're entering a physical and mental state of pleasure at their own level, the children. So this is their paradise. This is their Jannah. Yeah? And then they become a teenager. The same child becomes a teenager. So what's his paradise now? It becomes clothes and shoes. I want the freshest Gucci clothing, or this side bag and this cap and this shoes and that shoes. Yeah, that becomes their want. What is it? They want to be driving cars, luxury cars, the RS3s, the RS4s, the RS6s. Yeah, the different types of luxury cars you want to talk about. They want to, let's say he's got one car, then he wants to get a better car. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 10 has become a private jet. Yeah, so everyone's got their own different types of wants. So these are the teenagers. And then it becomes women, girls, or I want to I want to have a partner, and it becomes person speaks to one girl and the second girl, and these things. So they want more and more. It also becomes drugs and partying. So for many teenagers, the paradise is just partying and smoking up and chilling out and going out on the Friday, Saturday night. Like, mashallah, yourselves are here in the house of Allah. But many other teenagers, they are on a hot summer's day in May, getting up to no good. So this is a mercy of Allah that He's brought us here. And truly yourselves are very blessed and honorable people to be in the house of Allah, especially when we're surrounded by such fitna and these things. So for teenagers, again, look, it's the same thing. Partying, money, women, drugs, clothing. This is the idea of pleasure. So they continue like this, let's say 16 to like 25, 26. This is that age, yeah, the teenage age. This is the paradise. They just want to chill out, yeah, women and cars and all these things. And then as they get older, then they want to make more money. It becomes a money game. It becomes, oh, I want to be the richest person in my family, the richest person in my community. I want to have fame and name. I want to have power and respect. I want people to know me and respect me and fear me and all these things. And then as these people get older, let's say they hit 40, 45, then it becomes about politics. Many of our family members and, back home or wherever you're from, people into their politics, PTI and PML and every types of parties that are on. Everyone's into it. This Chaudhry as he's a Vada Banda and Air Banda, the Bada Banda, and this and that. We all know it. Everyone's into politics. And you've got a person who's 50, 60 years old and all day long and all night thinking about politics and meeting people and going to villages. And for example, in Pakistan, so let's say where I'm from is Jhelum. It's a very it's a political city, like many other areas in Pakistan. And it's all about this rabta and having this connection, networking. Oh, I know this family. Oh, I know that family. So then you'll go to people's weddings and funerals just to keep your face. Yeah, so people know, oh, this Flana person, or he's very well known. And you even get this in our towns, Nelson, Blackburn, Manchester, wherever you're from. Same thing. It's all about networking and your face and your name. But have we ever thought that imagine if we just directed this energy towards Allah and His Messenger? Because many of us are too worried about other people and what they think of us, what my cousin, uncle, auntie think of me. But have we ever thought about what Allah and His Messenger think about us? So you see, all these people, from the baby to the child, to the teenager, to the young man, to the adult, you see them, in each age range, the virgins of paradise are changing slightly. Because the man who's in his 50s and 60s, who's obsessed about politics and building kotis and land, and this is also one thing, zameen and these things, people are obsessed with it. Now the desire is the same. So the 3-year-old baby who has a desire for dud and milk, and the 50-year-old man who's got desire for land or properties and vava, the desire is the same, but the thing has changed. So really, all these people that we mentioned, from child to all the way to an old person, they want the characteristics of the real Jannah. Now, this person who's reached 60 years of age and he's obsessed with politics and money and zameen and respect and fame and these things, his level of knowledge and understanding is still limited and childish. Is childish, why? Because after 50 to 60 years of age, he still hasn't realized the reality of this world. And this is the biggest shame. This is the biggest blunder or the biggest deception we are going through. That many of our people that we know, and despite they can have multiple properties, they can be multi-millionaires, and they can be well-spoken and articulate, but because their desire is solely land and respect and all these things, and it's not Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu, then what's the difference between him and the baby who's drinking baby milk? What's the difference? Because both have a desire and both are fulfilling it. So this is one shame and blunder that really we need to come out of. Now, it is the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal that He sent us the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He came and He presented us the real Jannah, the real paradise. The paradise mentioned in the Quran, the paradise mentioned in the Hadith, the real Jannah. Now, obviously, there's going to be a difference between our Jannah, our own Jannah, and the Jannah of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Of course, it's going to be different. Now, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is showing us how Allah wants to give us pleasure and enjoyment. But we have our own ideas of, okay, I know how to make myself happy or become pleased. But even though we have limited knowledge. So many of us, we think, okay, the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned these things about paradise, but really, I know how to pleasure myself. They might not say it with the tongue because it won't be a conscious thing, the subconscious thing. And you see, Allah, He mentions, Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran, in one verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us the psychology of the human being. In one verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals everything. Allah mentioned, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. زين للناس حب الشهوات من النساء والبنين والقناطير المقنطرة من الذهب والفضة والخيل المصومة والأنعام والحرث ذلك متاع الحياة الدنيا والله عنده حسن المآب. Verse in Surah Al Imran. Allah mentions زين للناس حب الشهوات. Beautified for people is the love for that which they desire. So the human being has an intense love to fulfill their desires, to make their paradise in this world, in the dunya. We love, this is an innate love that we have to establish a Jannah in this dunya. We all have this. Then Allah continues, Minan Nisa, of women. So beautified for people is the love of that which they desire of women and sons. Minan Nisa'i wal Banin. So firstly, we have an intense love for that which we desire, and especially of women. So many of us, we want a companion of the opposite gender. If males want a female spouse and females want a male spouse, this is an integral part of our nature. This is what makes us as human beings, having this want or a connection with the opposite gender. Now Allah Azza wa Jal has created halal means for this, which is marriage. But there's also haram means for this, which is illicit relationships. Now it's up to us how we want to go about this desire. Because Allah Azza wa Jal has programmed us with this desire. He has installed it in our software, but we have an option whether we can fulfill the desire in a halal way and attain the pleasure of Allah, or fulfill it in a haram way, and then ultimately we'll be punished for our actions if we do not get forgiven. So we have options here. And then Allah mentions wal banina, and sons. So people, after they've been married, let's say they've gone through the halal means, then they want children and sons. So first is women, then sons. The people want children. Why? So they can carry on with their mission and their legacy. You see, what happens is many times in our culture, for example, let's say your father, he's away, and he'll say to you, make sure you go to this particular wedding because you're representing myself. You're representing me. Make sure you go. So then you'll go to the wedding, and people will recognize you and say, okay, you're so and so son. So you're representing your father. So let's say you do something good or you achieve something, your father will most likely tell his friends and family members, oh, mashallah, my son has done this. So this is natural, wanting sons who can please you and make you proud. So these sons are an extension of the father. So they're part of the father. And this is a blessing Allah Azza wa Jal has granted us, fathers. It's one of the biggest blessings Allah Azza wa Jal has given us, our parents. Allah bless them. And offspring, and same, okay, so these same children, they become inheritors of wealth and assets and these things. Because obviously, like the father has spent all his life earning wealth and money and these things. Then he wants to give it to his children so they can inherit this. Then Allah continues, وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنْطَرَةِ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ. To attain literally means heaped up sums of gold and silver, or in our terms, a lot of wealth. Okay, so after a person he's achieved, let's say, women and children, now he wants to earn money. Now he wants to earn millions and amass properties and build up assets in different countries. So let's say in the UK you've got zameen and properties and land. Then you want to buy in Pakistan, and then maybe France or Germany or wherever you want to buy it. You just want to build assets. This can mean gold, it can mean silver. So people want to be financially secure. So look, Allah Azza wa Jal, He's showing us our psychology, that we have this intense love for women, to marry, to have children, to earn wealth. Allah is showing us. وَالْخَيْلِ الْمُسَوَّمَةِ, to have fine marked horses. Now, in the times of the Arabs, marked horses were very expensive. And the equivalent today is like having a Porsche or a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, essentially. Having the luxury cars, ultra luxury cars. Yeah. So even the Arabs of the early age, for them horses, marked horses, and for us Porsches were the same thing. It's natural to have a nice car or conveyance. This is part of it. So if you want a nice car or you want to drive a fast car, this is normal. There's nothing wrong with this. But how do you go about this? Do you start getting haram? For example, let's say you're working and you're earning halal, you're earning a halal rizq. But then you can make more money on the side in a haram way. And the whole reason for that is just to get that car or that thing that you want. And this is the test. If you can earn it through halal means, alhamdulillah, do the shukr of Allah and continue. And if you can't, it's fine. It's not a big deal. It's part of our nature, yes. It's not a big deal. We all want Lamborghinis, but how many of us have Lamborghinis? I would love a Lamborghini and a Ferrari and a Porsche, but unfortunately, that's not the case. Okay, it's not a problem. وَالْأَنْعَامِ وَالْحَرْثِ. So it literally means cattle and tilled land. So a person reaches the age where he wants to have a lot of land and cattle and zameen and animals and these things. And then he wants to have farmhouses and holiday homes and these different types of things. This is natural to have these things. And he wants to move to the countryside. So let's say he has a home in Manchester, but he wants a holiday home in Birmingham or Shropshire or whatever. So he can say to people, look, these are my farmhouses, these are my land and my homes. And many of us, especially when it's hot, we go to the countryside, we go to the lakes. Why? Because we have this love for the countryside. It's a natural thing. We enjoy it when we see a nice lake or a mountain or nice scenery. We enjoy this. Now Allah Azza wa Jal is mentioning our psychology. And this is the psychology of every person, whether they're poor or rich, black or white, young or old, it doesn't matter. Allah Azza wa Jal is showing us our psychology as people. And this is the power of the Quran. And this is the power of the knowledge of the Quran. That if you are to implement it into our lives, if we are to use the Quranic knowledge and really look at life through the lens of the Quran and Sunnah, we will realize that this life is a deception. Then Allah continues, ذَلِكَ مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. All of this, the wealth, the women, the children, the houses, the properties, the cars, the land, that is the enjoyment of worldly life. ذَلِكَ مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. This is the enjoyment of worldly life. This is referring to the paradise of the dunya, which is very, very, very low level. All the things that I mentioned, they are very low level. The Ferraris, the Porsches,